Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with tip number 24 of our 30 tips in 30 days, dog days of summer series. Hope you guys are enjoying these tips. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are using a mobile device. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up yet for the World Series of Handicapping season number 10, go to worldserieshandicaping.com. $25 entry gets you into the contest. Make 7 picks a week. Rank those picks from 1 unit to 7 units, and if you are the player with the most amount of units at the end of the year, not the winning percentage, units, you will win. The grand prize is that beautiful championship ring from Barron's and $1,500 in cash. All right, let's go to tip number 24, and again, having a blast doing these things, and it just, if you are a handicapper, you never stop learning. You never stop in any trade, right? You just never stop learning. And the one thing that, re-emphasizes when I do these tips, it's just amazing how much of, the perception versus reality could really, change the way that you, handicap and the way you wager when you approach, sports betting, right? And again, I'll always say the perception versus reality, and it's not a popularity contest. A lot of players want to bet the best teams, right? The top ranked teams. And when you look at the top, I got this from ESPN, the top 20, because right now the coach is pulling it out. So I needed to get some type of reading on who are going to be the top 25, top 20 teams this year, because these are the teams that most of the networks are going to talk about, right? Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, Iowa State is that surprise dog. See, everybody thinks Iowa State's going to fly under the radar, but the secret's out of the bag. We know they have a lot of veterans returning. They've got a good young coach in Matt Campbell. So, they're really not fooling anybody, right? And what I did is I took the last 5 years, the last 5 years, I took the first 3 games of the last 5 years because everybody wants to get off on the right foot, right? You start depositing money in your sportsbook account, the last thing you want to do is be in the negative the first 2-3 weeks, right? You want to, you want that first domino to fall, so that way you're betting house money when you start, especially if you're starting with college football, right? So what I did is I went and got all the information on the top 20 ranked teams that ESPN has on their website, and as you can see, I listed their first 3 games of the year, the last 5 seasons, just to show you exactly, just because they're the team of the month or the flavor of the month type thing, it doesn't really mean that they have a lot of value when it comes to betting them in the first 3 weeks of the season, right? You look at Alabama, 8-7 in their first 3 games the last 5 seasons, winning 53% against the spread. Now, this is all against the point spread. Clemson, 7-8 for 47%. Oklahoma 7-8, 47%. So look at this. It's a coin flip the first 3 weeks, right? And when you think about it, when you're betting the first 3 weeks, this is an interesting angle too. If you are betting Alabama and you go 1-2, you're already down 66% of your wagers on the season, right? When you think of 1/3. Now, Ohio State 71%. Now, here's the thing. Ohio State, because of the Urban Meyer, he was working Ryan Day into the works of the being head coach at Ohio State. Now he's had a couple of seasons. We'll see now if this is going to continue the first 3. But Ohio State's been, I don't want to say lucky, just opportunistic that right now the Big Ten is not, when Michigan is not competitive, then I feel Ohio State can have a run at whatever they want, right? Until Michigan gets really competitive, and the other teams in the Big Ten, because, obviously they're not playing Michigan in week 1 or 2 or 3, but you need a competitive division in the Big Ten in order for that number to go down for Ohio State. You can't give them cupcakes every week, right? Georgia 10-5, 67%, pretty good for SEC team. Texas A&M 10-3-2. That's probably the best one. Yeah, that is the best one when you look at all the top teams. Actually, Oklahoma State, we'll get to that in a second. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Texas 7-8, 47%. Notre Dame, independent, 7-8. Iowa State, here's the team that everybody's going to be looking at the beginning of the first 3 weeks. They're 9-6 in the first 3 games of the season, playing out of the Big 12. The Hurricanes 9-5. Actually, it's 10-5. I forgot to add that one there. We had a little glitch in the system, but we fixed it, so it's 10-5. And then you got the Florida Gators. Now here are some of the worst teams, right? Florida Gators 5-10 in the last 5 years, the first 3 games of the year. Oregon Ducks, same thing, 5-8-2. And then you got Penn State at 7-7-1 against the number. North Carolina, 8-6-1, 57%. The Tigers, 8-6-1, 57%. TCU, actually we're missing a game. That should be 8-7. And then you got Wisconsin, 9-6. LSU, 7-8. Oklahoma State, the best team the first 3 weeks of the season, and they're 12-3 against the number. And then Ole Miss this year was last 5 years 6-9, week 1 of the first 3 games of the season. Now those are your top 20 teams that people are going to be looking at when they do the schedule, when they release the schedule week 1. Those are teams that will probably be the most bet on, right? But again, if you follow these tips, those popularity contests, right? It's really tough. I know it's really tough to stay away from them because you're going to see these numbers, and you got to remember it's your number against the bookmaker's number. And I'm going to show you at the end of this video, you're going to find the value in those lower popular schools, right? The lower ranked schools, the MAC and the let me see, the ACC. Well, not the ACC. The ACC is a good, but you'll see. All right, so top ATS teams, the first 3 games of the season. So what I did is I ranked the top teams right now. So you can see there, Oklahoma State, SMU, 12-3 out of the gate the last 5 years. Texas A&M, 10-3-2. There's Colorado, 11-4. Army, 11-4. Central Michigan of the MAC, 73%. Ohio State right there, 10-4-1. Eastern Michigan. Now look at all these lower ranked schools, right? These lower names that you're not going to see these guys playing on ABC Monday night game of the weeks type thing. Duke 10-5, Tulsa 10-5, Miami. Then you got Georgia, Mississippi State. Then the bottom part, right? Then I also ranked the worst teams of the first 3 games of the year, and that is Pittsburgh 4-9-2 at 31%. You got UTEP 4-9-2 at 31%. Kansas, UCLA, Tennessee, Baylor, Akron, Florida State, and Bowling Green is the worst record out of the gate. The first 3 games of the year, the last 5 seasons, 1-13-1. Now, those are against the spread, right? So these are the teams that have a history of not doing well out of the gate. And let's take a look at the over-under. Now, we look at the side. Now let's take a look at the overs, right? And the thing in football, right? Now I'm a football coach, and I say this all the time. We always say at the beginning of a season, the defense is always ahead of the offense. And when I did this research, I was like, wow, look at all the overs compared to all the unders. And it's just like it's almost triple. Look at all the unders we have, but look at all the overs in the first 3 weeks of the season. And Virginia Tech leading the pack at 13-2 for 87% to the over. Marshall, Oregon State at 80%. And then you got a lot of teams here at 73%. NC State, Central Florida, Kent State, Ohio, Toledo. Look at all those MAC teams right there, right? New Mexico, Mountain West Conference, Ole Miss, Hawaii, another Mountain West. Then you got Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech. Yeah, the Big 12, they like to run and shoot out of the old June Jones type offense. And now you got some air raid guys in there. And then you got Penn State at 10-5 to the over. East Carolina, Temple, Akron, Buffalo, Central Michigan, Western Michigan. Look at all those MAC teams in there. Man, those are a lot of MAC teams in there. How much so Kentucky, Alabama, Louisiana Tech, and Utah State. But look at those MAC teams. 1, 2, 3. Then you got 4, 5, 6, 7. Something to notice when you're going to be betting the first 3 games of the year. Look at the MAC and look at those totals. Maybe you might be onto something there. And here are the teams that have the lowest or the highest under records. And BYU, a little surprising, right? BYU 13-12 to the under. Cincinnati is known for being a defensive team, 11-4. Auburn, running team, 11-4. Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt just you just never know every year, right? With Vanderbilt, USC, a little surprised to USC, but really not, because they do have some good defensive players and units there at USC. And then Arkansas, 10-5. Keep in mind they play in the SEC, right? So here we go. We did all the top 25 rankings, and then we did the top ATS teams against the point spread the first 3 weeks, and then the over-unders. Well, where is the value? I told you at the beginning of the show, I said, think of college football like a popularity contest, right? You the first 3 weeks, you're going to find those diamonds in the rough in the MAC, in the Mountain West, in maybe the Pac-12, right? So which are the top teams the last 3 years that, and I took what I did is I did the favorites and the underdogs. So we'll start with the favorites. Who are the top teams as favorites the last 10 years? Now, I went back 10 years to see which team where you're going to find the best value. And look at that. Look at the MAC. Toledo Rockets, 12-2-1 as a favorite the first 3 games of the season. And let's look at Western Michigan, 11-3. Then you got Duke, the ACC, at 14-5, and Navy, 13-5-1 against the point spread the last 10 years. So I don't see any SEC team. I don't see a Big 10. I don't see a Big 12. Where's the value going to lie? Let's take a look at the MAC this year and the ACC when it comes to the favorites the first 3 games of the year. Now, the teams you don't want to bet, and you probably want to fade these teams, are Connecticut, Kansas, Southern Miss, Oregon State, 3-11, UCLA, and Arizona State. Those are teams that, as a favorite, have not done well the first 3 games of the year. And the top dogs, the first 3 games of the year, and there's Texas A&M, 7-1. Not a lot of occurrences. In order for me to really put a lot of emphasis and a lot of money on that situation, it has to meet my 10-game occurrences, right? That's one of my rules. If I ever do stats like this, it has to meet the 10-game rule before I can really, give it credit, right? BYU, 11-3-1 as a dog, though. Not as a dog. California, 11-3. So Cal, the Golden Bears, 11-3, 79%. Colorado, 9-3, 75%. Iowa State. Now there's Iowa State. We talked about it, right? That it's going to be interesting. To be honest with you, it's going to be really interesting because I just feel there's teams that people think, or the bookmakers think, that the public believes this team's going to fly under the radar. But this is probably the worst kept secret, right? Iowa State. Temple, 9-3 as an underdog. The last 10 years, the first 3 games of the year. Ball State, 11-4 against the point spread. Louisiana Tech, 13-5 against the number. Buffalo, 11-5. And there's Oregon State, 11-5. And your worst teams as an underdog, Akron. Akron's just been a bad team. There's the MAC again, right? 5-19. And then Tennessee, 1-7. So, to recap, the one thing you want to do when you are going to bet the first 3 games of the college football season, the number one rule you got to do is be disciplined. Do not go crazy week 1. Don't go crazy on Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, all those top dogs at the beginning of the year, because their lines are going to be so needle point that the bookmakers, they're going to be sharp on those games, right? And look, again, I've been saying, go watch those videos, the tips that I've done since tip number 1. Go look for the MAC schools, the ACC schools, the AAC schools, American Athletics, the Mountain West. Those are where you're going to find your value. And I just showed you, to start the season off right, go look at the MAC, go look at the ACC, maybe the Pac-12, teams that don't get a lot of ESPN type coverage. And that's where you're going to find a lot of your value when you kick off the regular season. All right, there you have it. That is tip number 24. This is a good one. That was a pretty good tip. If you agree, hit the like button. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are not a member of this channel. And sign up for the World Series of Handicapping NFL football, pro football contest. And guys, anytime you sign up, $25. And if you go 7-0 anytime during the week, you win $50 in cash, and you win the ring if you are in first place at the end of the year. And you can see from our past winners, we do have, look at these beauties over here, right? These guys here all won the contest. They all got cash, and they're all here representing for the World Series of Handicapping season number 10. Also, if you're interested in my college football picks for this year, you can get them right here at atsstats.com. Use promo code FB21, just like you see at the top of this website here, the top of the video. FB, F as in Foxtrot, B as in Bravo, 21, and get 20% off your next membership package. And when you do sign up, you will get my top plays each and every week right here in the members area. All right, hope you enjoyed this one. It was a blast bringing it to you. And as always, cheers.